The Morrie's Automotive Group is here today with the new 2016 pony cars. We have the Chevy Camaro SS as well as the Mustang GT. Now what I'd like to do is show you around the exterior, some of the stuff inside, and then provide you with a driving review on both. So this isn't the first time we've got our hands on a Mustang and a Camaro at the same time. Some of you may have seen our previous video, and judging by a few of your comments, Mustang fanboy was the #1 comment. Let me tell you, I really like this car, but this time the Camaro stepped up. But let's start with the Mustang. So you've got the 5-liter V8 making 435 horsepower, and you're gonna feel all of that when you're behind the wheel. Now GT does stand for Grand Touring, which means this is a little bit more comfortable as a day-to-day car. I could see myself driving this from maybe New York to LA, or that one I'd probably stop somewhere in the middle and probably take a night of rest. This is a little more mundane of a car, and that's not exactly a bad thing. It sounds good, it looks good, it's got space to put stuff in the trunk, and overall, I mean, since 1964, the blue oval has been bringing it with these Mustangs. So the 2016 Camaro, this is the SS making 455 horsepower, but it's a lot different than the previous one we tested out. This one has all the bells and whistles that you're gonna get with the SS for the most part, and it is so much fun to drive. I hate to say it, but you know what? Like I mentioned, if you were just kind of looking for a weekend warrior, the Camaro is pretty tough to beat. Now this one was a pre-owned unit that we had, so it's got the dark wheels, the dark windows, and all that good stuff. And it's got the hood scoops. I mean, from the wing to the nose, it is a pretty aggressive looking car. This one's got those updated headlights as well, so you kind of get that German style with the American horsepower, and it definitely works on this car. All right, so let's take this 2016 Mustang for a little spin around. So I haven't had a chance to drive the GT350, and especially not the GT350R yet, but if I do, you all will be the first to see that because that car sounds so good with that flat plane crank, and it just looks like an absolute beast. So hopefully someday we can get that review out, but for now, we'll settle with the GT and its 435 horsepower. That's so much for this car. I mean, it's kind of a do-all car. Again, the GT, it is a little more relaxed than the Camaro, which is something I certainly like. But let me show you that you still have a little bit of that power there when you need it. It just gets up and moves, and it sounds so good too when you're going. But the other thing is now, I mean, I can kick it in 5th gear at 45, and it's a lot quieter than on the inside now than the Camaro. So that one did have a little bit more of an aggressive tire on there, where this one's got the Pirellis, that one's got the Goodyear tires, which are a little bit maybe meatier than these two, but for the most part, I mean, this car's a little bit more comfortable. I think I could see myself more day-to-day driving in this, where, I mean, I think it said I was averaging 22 miles to the gallon out of a 5-liter V8 with 400 plus horsepower, so that's pretty good. And then inside, I like the controls. Super easy to use. The sync system, it takes you about 20 minutes to get used to it and be able to use it there. Everything is cleanly laid out. You can find the AC, you can find the volume, you can shift easy enough. I mean, this car drives so smooth. The one thing in the Camaro is that rev match, which is pretty cool. You know what? I like the old school feel of the Mustang. From the switches that are in some of the different models, you'll tell that it's a little more retro styled, and you feel that in this car. You feel like Ford spent a lot of time making sure that they found a car that came back to 1964 with its style and its feel. Though they did put an EcoBoost in the car, this is the one I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get the V8 because that's what American horsepower is, and that's what's fun to drive. And it sounds so good in here too. I know both of these cars, I mean, it's hard to complain with some American muscle, but I mean, it does just get up and go. Yes, you let it rev back down, and the steering wheel's good. I mean, the seated position is really nice, where you could get out on a track and have a ton of fun in this car, or like I said, I could drive from New York to LA and also have a bunch of fun and be pretty comfortable. I love those black Recaro seats that are a different package with this car, but you know, the cloth ones aren't bad. It's pretty comfortable. I mean, everything inside the car is easy to reach, it's easy to use. You can pair your phone up and just go through that way. I mean, if you want to take calls, but I don't know who you want to talk to when you've got all this horsepower and you're having fun, but sometimes you need to. So overall, I mean, the system is pretty straightforward, whether it's the trip computer, or you've got a few different track gauges in here also, and some other, your driver assist, all that good stuff. And you can load one of these up pretty good, or you can get one where the top goes down too. So there's so many different options and features, different stuff you can get into the Mustang that, yes, I think it's a little bit more comfortable than the Camaro. It doesn't quite have the performances. I'm sure you guys will say below in the comments that, yeah, the Camaro might do a little more horsepower, might do 0 to 60 a little bit quicker, but when you're in the car, it's hard to feel all that because it just does so many things right. I think it's great. Get out, drive one, drive both of them, see what you think. It depends on what you're looking for, but overall to me, it just kind of comes down to style. Easy use, backup camera. Hey, you can drive this car all year round if you wanted to. All right, so let's go for a spin around the Camaro. That clutch is light in this car. It's, kind of relaxing, takes a little bit getting used to. One of the things that really takes some getting used to is the rev match. So I know it's on the new Corvette as well in this car, and it is really cool. It's definitely a neat feature I haven't used before. So if I'm in, say, third gear and I'm gonna drop down into second, it already knows right when I'm about to go into the gear and will bump the revs up for you. So I might be used to a little bit of heel-toe shifting when you're driving around, but it is definitely pretty cool. It makes a lot of noise when you're out on the road, and it's a fun little feature to have. So that's pretty cool. One thing right off the bat though when I jumped in is that I turned on the radio and I noticed how far down the screen was tilt-wise. It's kind of leaning forward to me, which is a little goofy. I'm 6'1", so it seemed a little odd, but what makes up for it is this. Yeah, it gets up and moves. You can definitely feel all that horsepower, and it is almost addicting how much fun it is when I can go from fourth into third. You can hear it match for me, so all the work is done. All you do is put your foot in and go. Now it is a little noisy in here. This is on those Goodyear Eagle F1s, which are a great tire, but you are going to get all of the road noise with these. So one thing you do sacrifice for performance, or for the performance, I guess, is a little bit of that sound, where Mustang's a little bit quieter, but overall, when you have that, it's hard to complain. Other things that are cool, I love the gauge layout in here. It's so much better. I know I called the old 2011 Camaro similar to a Chevy Cruze inside, which was probably a little unfair, but this has come a long way. The temperature controls are really neat. Basically, where you're going with the fan speed or with the temperature is when you turn the dial. So if I can turn that, and then you just have the smaller fan control there in the middle, which is nice. And then everything else, this one's got the navigation. You can click the home button, you've got your audio, your Bluetooth, you can stream Pandora through here. There's so much stuff in this car that it's kind of hard to get through it all quickly, but between that and the heads-up display, if it's not things you're used to, it's really cool stuff to have. But, my favorite's gotta be the motor. It sounds so good, and it is fun to drive, it's easy to drive, and the flat bottom steering wheel is, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm all about the seats and the steering wheels, and these seats are comfortable, and this has the flat bottom, so I'm happy. The controls are a little funky on here. It's similar to any Chevy pickup. The heated steering wheel is also nice. I don't know how much you'd want to drive this car when it's that cold out. I wouldn't recommend driving it in the snow. I guess with a set of snow tires, it'd be a different story, and I'm sure people do it, and they will leave comments below, but it wouldn't be my first choice of Minnesota winter cars. Overall, this has come a long way. It's definitely a rivalry now. Before, the Mustang was certainly, in my mind, kind of the straight shot as far as first place, but now this has come a long way. The ride is harsh but good because you're in a sports car. The motor is all there, 20 more horsepower than the Mustang. Certainly gets it going quicker, it can stop a little bit quicker. The looks, that's up to you guys. See what you like the best, but this has got all that equipment in there. It's got the track mode, it's got sport, snow and ice mode, it's got all the different stuff where you could drive this car year round, or you could just go out on the weekends, bang around and have a lot of fun, and I think that is where the Camaro excels. On behalf of the Morrie's Automotive Group, thanks for watching. Now, if you'd like to schedule your test drive in the new Mustang GT, or like to get behind the wheel of one of the new Chevy Camaros, call, click, or stop by today. Thanks again for watching, and make sure you buy happy.